Those 2 games in Phoenix, man, just wow. Wembenyama is here with that stellar performance in what most people are calling his first breakout game as an NBA player. It's not a surprise. We saw glimpses of it in the Summer League, in the preseason, and the 3 games prior to facing Phoenix. But this guy is playing great basketball and it's on another level. Going into the first game against the KD-led Suns, the Spurs were coming off an absolute mauling they suffered in the hands of the LA Clippers. The game was the worst basketball we've seen from this squad, and I hope it stays that way because after what the guys did in Phoenix, there is no way we should see that dumpster fire of a performance from a complete Spurs lineup ever again. But in that first game, we were kind of close to seeing it. In a back-to-back game against a contending team in the conference, the Spurs struggled early, and that first half was bad. Being down as much as 18 before the half, and with a few seconds left before the break, the Suns executed what would seem like the dagger to any blowout game with this play.
Wants more threes. He's going to get that when Beal and Booker return. Don't forget E.J. Look at this. Durant. Get him a highlight. Well, that's the second highlight he's had over Victor.
I mean, Kevin Wayne Durant throwing it down on Wemby. I mean, granted, Wemby came late for the contest because Kevin Durant lost his man, but it doesn't take away on how great that looked. And most rookies, hell, most players would feel down on that situation and just go to the back and just try again after the half. But all throughout, Coach Pop kept preaching to be mentally tough, to stay hungry and keep competing. And Wemby took that advice and grabbed the moment that changed everything.
Guarding Wembenyama one-on-one. Shot clock is off. Wembenyama goes right by Durant. Oh! Wemby! With the left hand. And then Wemby says, anything you can do, KD, I can do better. But how about with the left hand? And look where he took off from.
And this was his first made field goal of the game. In the Clippers game, in the first half, Wemby only went 2 for 5 in the field, and before the dunk, this game was worse, going 0 for 5. But that dunk, Wemby issued the challenge to the Suns because he wasn't gonna go out like that again. And in this game, it was gonna be different. Wemby and the Spurs showed that in the second half.
In the second half, Collins goes strong at his foul. What a quick move there by Collins. I got a guy if you want to. Oh, another block by Wemby. Now in transition, up ahead. Throwing up there. Oh, Vassell takes it himself. Years with the Blazers. Right to it. Keldon Johnson, Gordon just lets him go. Best case scenario for the Spurs. This is a 5-point game, Reggie. Vassell, step back 3. Looking like Dame Lillard right there.
Once trailing 20 points, the Spurs clawed their way back up to single digits, and it was a collective effort from all of them, led by Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell as the scoring option, Trey Jones, who kept the offense flowing, and of course, the guy that started the crusade, Wemby. But the Suns were still putting up a fight, led by Kevin Durant, and in the final minutes of the game, just like the end of the first half, he would slam one home to extend the lead by 5, jab stepping to get free from his defender. And in most games, this would be a safe margin if you had Kevin Durant on your squad. But most games don't have a killer on the other side of the court facing him, and ours just happens to be a 7-4 cheat code, pulling up with ease to return the favor. And on the other end, Trey Jones almost comes up with the steal on Durant, and even with the body blocking Wemby's path, he still managed to contest the corner 3, altering the shot and forcing the miss for a much needed stop. With just 30 seconds to go, the Suns were able to disrupt the Spurs play, but Vassell calmly dribbles into position, gave Wemby a quick look, fires from deep, missing to tie the game, but Wemby already ran the open lane, positioning himself for the easy putback, putting the game within 1. And this epic run needs a miracle on defense, and it started with Suns head coach Frank Vogel opting not to use his final timeout that would have advanced the ball to the half court. But be that as it may, they brought the ball back in under their basket. Keldon nearly gets the steal in the inbounds. The Spurs quickly triple-teamed KD. He was waiting to get fouled, but KJ surprised KD from behind and snatched the ball away, immediately drives inside, hangs in the air and drops that bad boy to finally take the lead with just 1.2 seconds remaining, sucking the life out of Phoenix. But the Spurs still needed one stop at the other end. Keldon sticks to KD without fouling him on the final attempt, and Wemby coming for the help contest. They were able to force KD to make a tough shot that resulted in missing the game winner, securing the victory and completely upsetting the Suns in their home court. And looking at the game stats, other than steals, blocks, and fewer turnovers, everything pointed out to the Suns being on top of this game. It's just that the Spurs made the right adjustments at the half, going into the zone on defense and outscoring them 70-51 in the second half. It was a great response to the 40-point loss in LA, and with most of the basketball world shocked, the rest weren't convinced that this was a legitimate win and saw it more of a controversy because Kevin Durant got fouled. But missed calls happen around the league all the time, and the NBA does have the endgame reports to acknowledge if those missed calls were indeed fouls, but the report said that this wasn't a foul. And there was also the excuse that the Suns were missing 2 out of their big 3, with one being Devin Booker, who they consider their number 1 guy. But whatever, I guess. Because in the next game, Wemby responded. It was a rematch with Phoenix, still in their home court, but this time, Devin Booker was returning from injuries. Now they can take their revenge and right the wrongs of the last game. And as expected, this game was completely different. But not how most envisioned it, because this time it was a reverse of the previous game, with Wemby taking charge for the Spurs by first welcoming Booker back, rejecting his first shot of the game, to then taking a commanding lead over the Suns by halftime. Minus blocks and committing less fouls, the Spurs led the Suns in every category in the break, and when they're shooting 15 more shots than the Suns while being up 20, and your 2 leading scorers are shooting at this rate.
Side, Nurkic got jarred free. Vassell, Suns ice cold to start. Wembenyama sprints the floor. Fire to 3, no. Jones to the back tap. Nothing but white jerseys there. Yeah, you can't get caught watching. It's hard to beat anybody. And Frank Vogel rolling the dice a little bit with Devin Booker. I'm sure that Book floats it up. Heavy traffic inside. Jones coming away with it. Here's Vassell streaking to the basket. See, that's the problem right there. Got it. Big opportunity when it presented. Here's Vassell trying to turn the corner. Good defense that time by Grayson Allen. Doesn't matter though. That's just a ridiculous shot. And plenty of contact. Wembenyama runs the floor. Here is Brandon with that left hand. Swings it out to Wembenyama all alone. Got it.
You know that the previous game was a product of the team's grit and mental toughness. And that final 3 by Wemby before the break just put an emphasis on his performance. Already scoring 20 by the break, it felt like the Suns played like they didn't believe in the Spurs earning their win in the first game, and thought they could coast because of Booker's return. But during the half, they understood that they had to compete hard with our team, and like deja vu paired with a reverse card, the Suns fought their way back into the game, with Booker leading them on offense, with the rest of the Suns team tightening up, only turning it over 3 times in the second half, compared to them losing it 10 times in the first. But the Spurs losing Vassell in the second half definitely made it easier for the Suns to score, as much as it hindered the Spurs. But in the fourth, when KD and Booker weren't getting into their spots on offense, the Suns were being carried by KBD's 9 points that started with a strong drive over Zach and Wemby, showing no fear to his former team, followed by a great sequence by the Suns, with KD blocking Jeremy's shot, leading to the fast break, and Booker dishing it out to KBD for the finish, which led him to talk smack to Jeremy, and ended up tying the game with a corner 3, a shot we Spurs fans are all too familiar with. But that magical run he and the Suns made would eventually run its course, because Wemby, in the final minutes of the game, changed the energy completely. He splits his free throws but does end up regaining the lead for the Spurs, and on D, he managed to make Utah miss his open 3 with an unreal contest using that height and length, then opted to post up against KD in the paint, drawing the foul, and this time making both free throws. After the Suns stay stagnant on offense, Collins made this beautiful dish to Wemby, dunking over Eubanks for what seems like his go-to play against the Suns, which was a foul that the refs missed. I don't know how when you're right there, but the Spurs are up 5 and both KD and Booker came up empty in the next few possessions, with Durant swirling out this 3 and Booker driving into the Spurs defense where Jeremy blocked his shot. Just another reminder why Booker should stop talking trash to these European players. And that defensive effort by Zach and Jeremy kept the Suns scoreless since tying the game. And of course, Wemby pulled the lead back up by double digits with this absolute dagger over Eubanks. Durant tries to respond, getting into position for a turnaround fade, but rushes it, and on the other end, Wemby gets his own turnaround shot as he catches and shoots over Eubanks. And this is the shot that put the Suns in a helpless position, losing any chance of a comeback. And Wemby capped off the night with 38 points, a career high, and third on the Spurs' all-time rookie game high list. Wemby also grabbed 10 rebounds to make it a double-double with 2 assists and 2 blocks, outdueling 2 of the NBA's biggest scoring stars in the same game. He also started and led the 12-0 run to finish the Suns off for the second straight time on the road. It was a great follow-up to a scrappy win because following the OT win against Houston, they suffered that big blowout loss in LA. To see these guys keeping the momentum after a huge win to get another big victory, they're getting better and they're starting to figure out how to use Wemby. In the first game, they only had 25 assists, but in this game, they recorded 37 and a lot of those went to Slenderman. Guys, the NBA in-season tournament just kicked off at the time of this recording with multiple must-watch games from Steph's game winner over OKC to the Blazers' comeback win over Memphis and the defending champion Denver Nuggets handing Lucas Mavs their first loss in the season. And although the Spurs are still 4 games away from their first in-season tourney game, the floor that we'll be using is stunning with the color palettes of the new City Edition jerseys. I can't wait to see it in action, and you can bet that this channel will cover all the Spurs tournament games. So subscribe to get notified when we do. Leave a like in the video if Wemby already blew your mind early into this season. But that's all for now, and till the next time.